So a son was living with his mother, right? And then kills her. And then after that, dumps her body in a garbage can. That's wicked in itself. Like what church folks like to call it, and yet I'm not religious. But like, subscribe, ID in the Discovery channel. Yes, ID in the Discovery channel. The links are provided below. Get that Discovery Go app as well as that ID Go app. You might want to get those two things, combine them into one. So yeah, Betty Wallace, age 67 years old, was found by sanitation workers of all people. They found her body on December 24th of 2018. Yes, Christmas Eve. She was found in the afternoon while they made repairs on the street. You just saw his face. I had to pause to look at it again. On the streets, yes, of South Prospect Avenue in Morgan Park neighborhood. Why would you want to do that? You guys hear me whisper? It's in Chicago. Chicago, South Side and all the rest is I don't want to bash Chicago, but for some of the worst tragedies that has happened, and more amongst the black community. Come on, man. Killing our own. Never forget that. Those who are aware already know. And yet many people will blame outsiders over and over. I get it. The message of, well, they're killing us and yet we're killing our own. All this happening in Chicago and all this, and you're dumping your mother of all, that's not respectable. No respect for human life. So Wallace was found unresponsive, and her body held various stab wounds to her legs, and blunt trauma was on her face. Blunt trauma to the face. She was, of course, pronounced dead on the scene. Her son, age 25, Robert Wallace, was taken into custody on December 26, 2018, which led to him being charged with first-degree murder. Yes, that's a good one. It stated Wallace lived with his mother, and I stated that already, at the time of the tragedy. He's being investigated more further as well in relation to all the mess that have taken place. The mindset need to be checked as well as analyzed, right? Police wouldn't release any findings or details on what occurred during the attack. They usually wait for that sort of thing. They're more than likely going to study him out even further with his whole hit and run approach, because I'm thinking he didn't think that sort of thing was going to be found. Who don't know that type of thing? Who don't know if it's laughable. Not towards the woman that died, to the mindset of the son that killed her. That's laughable. I give respect to the grieving family and everybody else that was surrounding this mother, but his mindset is laughable for the simple fact that I can see if the woman lived alone and you kill her and you think you're going to get away with it, but to live in the same house with her and then what, just think that you were just going to continue living there, and then knowing people what are not going to ask you, well, where's your mother? What happened to your mother? What? Would he have, say, filed a missing persons alert or something on her, or what? I'm trying to see if this man would have never been caught. See, the way that I think, and I think too far with that. I was gonna say prognosis, and yet that ain't the right term for that. I don't think that's the right fit. Let me fix my clothes and possibly shake them from some of these roaches out here in society that need to be dealt with. This young man himself, who don't know, if you live in the house with your mom and you kill her, you're not just gonna possibly walk in freedom with that. No Martin Luther King involved. On the substance, I'm saying the layering aspect of picking stuff apart to see, well, what was he gonna do next, and prevent himself from being found out. Who was paying the bills, I'm in wonder of. And not only that, how did they get along? And not only that, what is the reason, as in a not take from that, but I could, of the story, to try to make sense of why would he want to kill her in the first place? It's all over the playing field, my own mindset, and trying to work a piece. Because something about it is not right, as in it's off. Even his mindset could be off or something. I don't know. Because see, to live with it, that just don't make sense. This is why people don't like me, because of my mindset. Not only do I give lectures and conversation instead of talking straight through to people, holding the conversation, I do lectures as well. Most people don't want to be bothered with me because I analyze too much. But to be that age in your 20s, 25 years old, and you living with your mom, right? Is to say it must have been a reason why he was staying there in the first place. Possibly not being able to pay his own bills, more than likely borrowing money from the mom, could possibly have been stealing money. That's not to push blame on him, but something is not right. As in, there's something further up underneath that, and it needs to be called out and said. Because usually 25-year-old boys or men or whatever, I'm saying boys because his mindset, right? They usually out chasing girlfriends and living sometimes with them girlfriends, if not having their own place residing, right? And yet to be that age and live with your mom and then she dies is to say, well, what was the communication level? I just went back and repeated what I just said. And yet, how often was he helping to provide on the bills? Light bill, gas bill, what else? Water bill, if there was a house, or if there was a house and not apartment, home improvement. See what I'm going with this? All that type of stuff. Houses need home improvement work and all the rest. And young boys, young men as well, young men his age, however you perceive him to be. I say young boy, that's how he acted, right? Because the trick off your mom in that way is to say that's off the hook, right? But at that age, you should be wanting to help your mother financially around the household, as in giving as needed and giving when not asked to. And yet some of these men out here, boys, whatever you would call them, see, my mind is level all the way, right? A guy with his mindset would kill her off their mom because they don't want to give the mother something when she's requesting some funds where bills need to be paid. Many of them just want to lay around the house and say not do nothing with their time useful and not even help their mom. Some of them don't even want to go out and clean the front yard or any of that type of stuff. And yet that's a grown man's type of job. That's even 11, 12, 13-year-old kid type of job, male or female, right? You shouldn't have to always be asked or do what's told of you. You should want to do that because that's even privileged just enough to have a mom that knows she's there, that you're living with her, that you want to make the house presentable for all the neighbors and everybody else passing through the neighborhood, right? Many young males, and more so black males, I can't really speak on white, despite me living surrounded by many out here. Some of them, in fact, don't do what they're supposed to. You got all races, colors, nationalities that don't. But the fight in the moment is to say something more likely have went down between that mother and the responsibilities in the household, where even that young man joins in and fits in with the picture. I can see it. Household issues. If he wasn't into selling or delving deep into drugs or something, and her feeling that was a disrespect, as in her bringing that into her household, people, mothers and sons, fight about that type of stuff as well, and mothers get killed over that because some of these mothers are in fact church-going, praying mothers, and they don't want that apart or around their household, because even them have grandbabies or other individuals passing through that's blood family members, and they don't want that surrounding kids and everybody else, or even themselves, because even older women get robbed. Where say a man at that age 25 fails to pay the drug man or drug lord or whoever, right? And so to have a disagreement about living a street lifestyle, that's not to cast judgment. I come from the hoods of hoods, lived in many hoods, has been surrounded by many hoods. I know what males do when they don't have money or funds, or when they're in their free time and not using free time wisely. Their connections and illegal activities with that sort of thing, right? Where the fight picking come in. and then the mother, saying something out her mouth that the son don't agree with. The back talking despite his age, and some of these losers really get in and dig into their mom in ways that they shouldn't. Sometimes when they do things that they shouldn't be doing, right? Mothers ain't gonna always let that sort of thing fly, which is how it goes back and forth, and then somebody end up dying or getting killed, and usually it's an innocent mother with that sort of thing. That's tragic in itself. Whatever it was in the investigation and police find out, I hope and pray that it wasn't something so petty. As in a long-lasting mark of why. If it was, I'm saying. What could that just don't what could have actually been so bad, unless it was child abuse or something I can see. Asking good questions around something like it's a Rubik's Cube is to find out. What could have been so bad and so traumatizing for this male figure to want to take out his mother? And not just walk away and say go get an apartment of his own and possibly a girlfriend and make some babies or family elsewhere, create a whole new family somewhere if he didn't like his mom or hated her and couldn't stand her with disgust. Who don't do that? To not like somebody is to possibly get rid of them. Throw them in the trash or something. That's what he did, right? And yet maybe there was more hatred for him than she had. Maybe there was hatred for him. Let me see this. Maybe there was more hatred for him that she could have had. Or maybe it was more hatred for her he had. Somewhere in this, something, it's either responsibilities, or he was childlike, not man enough to man up to move out or something, or was hate involved or something. There has to, listen to me when I say this. Just because you have a child don't mean that you love the child. Or maybe just because you're a son of a mother don't mean that you love that mother. Something somewhere with this story. But hate had to be there is what I'm trying to say. From one party to another just for it to get that gone. And because see, killing people is wicked in itself. Wicked. To have no respect for a human life, person full of substance, right? Purpose. We all meant to and intended to live with purpose. And say you don't want them there is to kill them, right? And yet usually hatred stands or rides behind that. If you're not a psychopath, right? They usually don't feel all like that, right? And yet the emotions somewhat slightly in his photo, yes, look somewhat bitter or angry. So I gotta say that more than likely, once again, he's the guilty party more so than his mother or something. Their relationship wasn't the best or greatest, and you can tell because she's dead, right? But to observe a photo is to see all the way through it, even in mugshot form. Because some mugshots you see them and some people look in shock because they killed somebody and they don't really know what to feel or think. If they're not a psychopath, say they got mad and went off on somebody and then they just butchered them up. Or you see all type of mugshots and you can look at the facial expression and see. Some of them, in fact, play games with police, FBI, and all the rest when it comes to police, more so when it comes to mugshots, right? Thinking they can get off easy or something, looking presentable in the mugshot. Who knows? People play all type of game with law enforcement. But yet, once again, you can read through a mugshot and the story will show you, as in it will be there because, like they say, it's written all over your face. See his face? It's like anger or bitterness over something. Childhood manners or matters, not manners, that too, but matters. let me leave that. So we're on investigationdiscovery.com. The logo stands up in the far left corner. All type of shows for you presented. Yes. To gain access to this is to sign in. You're going to in fact provide your provider. The new layout right here, it looks very, yes, I was going to say hypothetical with that. That's not the word. I'm using all type of avenues out of context when it comes to wording. The layout has in fact changed slightly, as in it's been dwindled down. Does that make sense? There's a little bit less on here than what it usually is, and that's more presentable, because with it being this way, as I say, I don't have to go through and scroll detail to detail to detail. I can just scroll down just a little bit and let that be the end of that. Thank you, God. Yes, investigation discovery with this. So the gain preview is in fact click within here, right? I just threw myself off. I'm sorry. Because see, to not have much to go on, I usually think when I'm, see, well, people misunderstand. I'm sorry. I have to tell this because I like to explain stuff. But as I'm talking, I'm thinking ahead while I'm speaking. It's almost like my mind is divided. I'm able to do two things at once. I'm able to talk as well as think what I'm going to do next. And yet to not have more on the screen the way that it usually is to say I'm pausing. And I did before I started explaining, because I'm like, okay, while I'm doing this, I'm going to go over here to go move over to show you more. But when I go to scroll down, nothing else is going to be there. So that threw me off, because once I go down, that's the end, right? So yes, the gain access is to click right within here. You can add to favorites by clicking the plus sign. Yes, and the description is right there. But also, too, why I pause before I explain myself is because with this being less, as in the minimalization of the new layout right here, usually I would say, when you do something and you prep and prepare for something and you make a habit out of saying certain things, usually I would say there's an audio video preview. And I would do that when I'm scrolling down to show you different things, devices on here, right? And with that being gone, is once again why I pause, because with it not being there is to say, well, that's a lost cause. That's it for that. So description, each one contains a title as well as a show, as in what you might want to see when you get on investigationdiscovery.com. Up here in the far left has been changed as well. Yes, that was in fact to let you know what's now playing, as in what's on now. To receive a newsletter is to type your email address in and press next. And that's what you will receive. So leave me a comment in the comment section. Tell me what you feel about this whole garbage can dumping of a mother. Yes. For the holiday. All these deaths. Isn't that wicked in itself as well, to know, okay, well, it's the holiday season. That's when we all come together. That's what most families feel and think. Unless you don't get along, right? We got many of us that don't get along with certain individuals in the family. That needs to be called out. That's real life. Not everybody sees eye to eye. Not even certain individuals in my family with me. Many of us don't see eye to eye. That's why we separated, right? That prevents rifts and chaos. It ain't gonna lead to murder, and yet you don't know who's lively to get angry with that, right? But to not like somebody is to walk away, and I said that time and time again. So just tell me what you think and you feel about this situation and this mess with this, because I'm wondering, the mother, before she died, even days leading up to her dying, what could have been the cause and effect and the reasoning with that, and what type of person was she when she would sit down and watch TV, and him walking through the house freely, possibly having to pay no bills, not even the cable bill or anything like that, right? You got some young boys that would in fact snatch the remote out their mother's hand, like they own not only the TV but the remote as well as the house too. You got some young guys out here that in fact just because they live with their mother and they try to act like they the man of the house, they would even take the keys to their mother car and be driving all over the city and just leave her to go catch a ride with somebody else. I can't be bothered with those type of people. They're failures in life. They're losers, as in they must be called out. I'm not saying, see, when I start saying, because people get offended when I say loser, even my own mother get offended. I'm not saying people that say it's forced to live in a home with their parent, their mom, whether son, brother, cousin, in-law, right? I'm not saying when they take the key and drive off and leave the mother there. I'm saying how they do it, as in the way. You got some people that will leave their mother to be forced to walk along the highway just to catch a ride while they out partying with her car keys to her car. That type of stuff I'm saying on those type of individuals are in fact losers, because why would you leave your mother to do that sort of thing? If you got the cars to go pick her up, and yet not everybody thinks like that. They just tell their mom, well, F off. You walk and I got the keys to your car and I'm driving. And many of them don't even put gas in the car once they get done driving. They just give her the keys and the car is on E, and then she go to drive somewhere and the car clunk out somewhere. And there you have it, just a mother sitting there going to have to call for a tow truck. And even that's more money that even the son is not going to pay. People do all type of things. So I think that's all to be said for now. And I'm going. May she rest in peace with that. Sad in itself. And with the grieving family with that sort of thing. Having to go through Christmas and holiday seasons and New Year's Eve, and then she's not being there because of somebody who was so selfish. So I'm leaving off for now, and I'm gone.